And then another thing that I kind of wonder, I guess, I just have like a personal memory where, I mean, I personally really, really want to be a father as this Grayson, and like that's a huge goal of ours, is to be family guys, like my dad was.
Yeah.
But I remember I was in the car with my dad, and I was driving him to treatment one time, and like, it was when things were kind of getting bad for him. Fuck, it's like so hard to say without like getting emotional.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try, but like it was like getting really real, and he was just like I'm gonna be a grandfather, you know that, right? And I was like, yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
That is.
Fuck, I didn't expect.
It's
Yeah,
all right.
No, we get it.
and he's like, I'm gonna meet your kids, so just don't you fucking worry about that, right? Like that's
Yeah.
he was an
Yeah.
aggressive
Yeah.
New Jersey guy, so that's how
Yeah.
he spoke. And like I really believed him, and so yeah, I guess I have like a fear of like not like a fear of having kids, but
Yeah.
like just that like when I do,
Yep. You don't have to. Feel
yeah, like I know that he'll be there and stuff, but like I feel like there'll be moments where I'm looking for it, because I know exactly what he's gonna say in every situation.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to like question who he is. Like I know exactly how he'd react to everything I do, but it's more so like I just want to see his reaction.
I know.
That's
I
like
know.
the little
I know.
He
things.
would love it. He would. I feel like that's what cancer does. Is they, take people like kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't wait to become a mom. And I knew I would be the kind of mom my mom was. And so it's funny, actually, when I was pregnant, we knew we were having a boy, and I knew I wanted to name my first child after my mom, but her name was Kathleen Murphy. And we were living in Chicago, and I thought we would live in Chicago forever when he was born. And so we were like, let's name him Murphy. But as long as we stay here in Chicago, if we move home to Boston, there's like everyone's Murph, like we can't do that to him. Like everyone's like, it's like Murphy Dry Cleaning, Murphy, like Murphy's Pub. And, but we named him Murphy, and it was like, I fell in love with him immediately. And like some parents are like, oh, it took me a while to like bond with my child. I'm like, what?
I hear
like,
about that. Yeah.
It fell head over heels in love with Murphy. And it was such a beautiful way. And I'm not saying you have to like name your child after your father, but
I probably will.
There was,
Grayson
you will.
He called it already.
No, you totally will. It's not Sean's.
I said first son.
Yeah. If I was having a girl, she would have been Kit. But we get Murphy, and it's so great because I'm Italian and Irish, but so Murphy
Same.
looks like it's for Jersey.
Yeah.
And he is such a Murph, and it's such a beautiful way to honor her. And now he's 13 years old, and he's this beautiful human being, and he's a good person, and that's Kit. In my head, I'm just like, that's my mom.
Yeah.
And she didn't miss it. I mean, because how else can you? It's the saddest thing in the history of sad. Your father would have been an incredible grandfather.
Yeah.
He deserved it. He should have been. He will, but he'll watch it.
Yeah. And I do feel like deep down I'll feel the same way that I do about my girlfriend. Like I feel like he had met them before.
Yeah.
They know each other.
Yeah.
Anne Marie, I what you said about your brother, and now he has 2 daughters, and you feel
Yeah.
like grief is like coming back up for him, and he's really experiencing it head on. I can relate to that because for a while after I lost my dad, like I have an amazing family, and they're all very loving, and we're extremely close. I can't say that I was like much closer to my dad than I am to my mom. I think we're all like on the same level, like we all connected on the same level, but there's just something that I don't have that dynamic in my life anymore, the father-son experience, like physically. Like I can't hug my dad or ask my dad a question, hear his voice response to me, even though I know what he would say. I know him for so long that
You
like,
just want to see the reaction.
yeah, you want to see that reaction and stuff like that. And I feel like the only way that I would get that back, and for a while I was struggling with trying not to rush this for myself, was like to have a son and to be a father to him, just the way my father was to me. And I feel like when that does happen, when the day comes, like I feel like it would be unrealistic for me to say that I'm not going to be confronted with grief again. And so your brother, like the last relationship that he had with, child and parent, your mother and him. Now he's having that with his daughters, and he probably sees a lot of her in them, and also, and I just I can't imagine how deep must make you go. And
Well, and I think it has really forced Charlie to grieve, which is hard because I think it's something that it was easier to sweep under the rug for a while, and it's just undeniable. I mean, Molly and Grace literally have pieces of my mom. It's almost eerie. Even when Molly was a baby, they look like her. They say certain things because my brother and my sister-in-law is amazing and teach the girls about Nana and heaven. And so even when Molly was a really young baby, she would be in her little crib and she used to point in the corner of the room. And Megan, my sister-in-law, used to think it was really weird. And then the nanny started saying it. They're like, what is she pointing to in the corner of a room? And I mean, I like to believe that she's pointing at a spirit. And then the grandmother said the same thing. Megan's mom said the same thing. Like, what is Molly pointing to? And I really believe that, you know, it's my mom, I think, coming through for sure. I'm so happy for Charlie to be a dad because I think that it probably is the greatest gift. I mean, for me personally, it's been something that I kind of shove under the rug a little bit. I was in a relationship for a long time in my 20s living in Boston, and I was telling you guys earlier, like, I just knew that there was something more for me. And I can't wait for that day when that comes to be a mom. I know that I'll be a mom. It's just a matter of time. But it was like I had to fill something for me personally. And there is some guilt involved and a little bit of like shortened sense of life syndrome of that. My mom only had 42 years on this earth. Like, I have to live in her honor. I can't stay settled. I can't stay in my comfort zone.
I can't relax for a second.
Yeah, same.
Not a second of the day. Yeah.
Same, because I know how it could end, and I had my whole life set up for me in Boston. I mean, my ex-boyfriend Alex is a wonderful human being. My friends, my family, everything was ready to go, and you know, I booked this one-way ticket to LA and had never been here before, but just had to do it. And I do think that there was some grief involved in that decision. It was the best decision I ever made, but I do think that there was grief involved in it because I know how this, you know, what life could be. And that I do want to live life to the fullest, and obviously empower her was a huge driving factor with this. That I know that there's other girls in this country that are grieving this same way, and the only way we're going to get there is if we're boots on the ground, if we land there and just do it. And I think
talking about hard things like this,
right, for sure. But I'm proud of that was my brother's route. You know, my brother moved outside of Boston and has a wonderful family, and life is amazing for him. And you know, this is my route, and you know, I'm excited to see what happens. But
it's another thing too. I'll say I can just speak on behalf of some girls of grief that grow up to say, well, I can't imagine having children. I just don't want my mom to miss out on that. So I don't want kids. Or I don't want kids because I just don't want to do that without my mom. And my answer is always, no, do it. Like, don't let your loss and grief stop you from living. That's what she wanted. That's what he wants. I know that because I'm a parent, and I have that perspective. When I started Empower Her, I thought, I'm doing this just as much for these girls as I am for their moms. Because I know if, God forbid, I had to leave this earth, I need to know Murphy and Ava are okay. And that was it. And I want to prepare you for this, again, to say, like, hear it and sit in it, because it's the truth. I don't want to sugarcoat this. When you do become a parent and you've lost your parent to cancer, I couldn't believe how much I loved my children. And I then re-grieved again. And now I'm on my knees again, feeling so bad for my mom, because she did know she was dying, and she would say goodbye to a 9-year-old girl and a 13-year-old son. And I just felt so bad for her. So you mentally have to prepare yourself for that is what, you know, a gift of grief is empathy. And why we have empathy is because I know you feel bad for your dad. I know that. And there's no changing this, right? So, like, how do you physically still live your life, live a beautiful life, and don't skimp out on any of those things, but also maybe prepare yourself for what will happen emotionally inside when you become a parent and realize how much you love this child, you know? That was your mom and dad's experience.
That's something I'd never really thought about, is like what what might
now
I feel
I gave you
after?
that
No, that's it's good. I think being blindsided by emotions and stuff that are inevitably going to come up, like, is I mean,
That's the
I would
worst
rather
part of it
I would
all.
rather be
Yes.
prepared for it.
Yeah.
And this is something I hadn't thought about, was like, how am I going to feel after I have a kid? And I guess I've thought about, like, how am I going to teach my kid, where his grandfather is and his grandmother's there, and hopefully, whoever I meet has both of their parents, and how am I going to tell them, that
Yeah.
I'm going to have to teach them what heaven is and everything from such a young age. But
Yeah.
I
And you
I don't
work through
dread
it.
that by any means, but I just, I think about that from time to time. But it really resonated with me when you said that you feel like you're living like 1,000 miles per hour, just trying to cram it all in because you have like short life syndrome where
100%.
like, I do like
can't
I'm
help
taking
it.
like
In a good way.
I'm taking
Yeah,
like
I hope.
95 online
Yeah.
courses, like
Yeah.
trying to learn Spanish, trying to learn
Yes.
like how to
Oh, of course.
like I'm learning about like canine psychology, like how my dog
course,
thinks.
obviously.
Like I'm like, I
Yeah.
need to know everything. Like my dad knew everything.
Right,
Yes.
right,
You know what I mean?
right.
And he only had until 50, and I
Yeah.
feel like he knew everything, so I need to be there. And
Yes.
like, what if I
Yeah.
only have until 50? And so, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess and it comes with everything too, like my career. I'm like, what's next?
Yes.
What's next? What's next?
Yeah.
And, like, I can't sit.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't sit and really take time for myself, and I'm not good at that. But I think that has a major contribution. Is losing him does.